All right. Good morning, everybody. Let's do this morning. So this morning we're going to do that little similar to yesterday, just in a little bit different way. Yesterday we did the 4 minutes where we're working back and forth between the pairs, the descending pyramid. This time, all we need is 30 reps in 4 minutes of each exercise. So the first pair is going to be a one-hand swing, one-hand kettlebell swing, or deadlift. Mark, I recommend deadlift, just because that, for you, that swing tends to be what?
Yep, got it.
Is a little too aggressive. And then a cross body mountain climber. So on a one-hand swing, the work is done with your butt and back of your legs, and you're just here swinging forward. So as the weight comes back, your hips pushed back behind your heels. And if you're doing a deadlift, it's the same thing, just with less speed. You aren't reaching back between like you're hiking a football. You're just letting it go straight down. And we go to the spot where you have good form. So if you're not tapping to the floor, I'd rather see you have your hand at about knee level with a flat back than get here and then start rounding over to get the weight to the floor, right? So I'd rather see really strong in here, really strong here, and get here, even spreading the floor apart with your feet, getting that outside pressure, pushing it out. That'll help your hips engage a little bit and keep everything strong in there. So deadlifter swing, and then the crossbody mountain climber, your hands will be on the floor in a push-up position. You're going to bring that knee up to your elbow, opposite elbow, and then you're going to bring your knee up to your opposite elbow. So your hips can turn a little bit there. It shouldn't be too excessive, but for each one of those, you're doing 30 each side, or attempting 30 each side, but you have 4 minutes to do it. Okay, so there's a little bit of a interval component to it, but we're just working back and forth. You split it up how you want. If you want to take care of all of one of them and then try to tackle all of the rest, you can do it that way. If you want to split it up 3 sets of 10, do the math however you want. All right, two-way slide lunge. So this one, we're just going to go back and forth between the lunges. So we're going to alternate slide lunges. We'll be holding the weight here, okay, up under your chin. If that doesn't work, you'll just hold it in the hand of the side that the slider is on. So all the stuff goes on the same side. All right, so alternating slider lunge, you're just going to slide out and then slide back. And that was 1. This is 2. Okay, so we're looking for 30 of each of those on each leg. And that one doesn't have a partner. So there's no other exercise with that. It's just because that one takes a while. So it's just a lunge on that one. Okay, plank row. So we're going to be in a plank position. I have found that elevating my hands makes it easier. So if you can put your hands on a couch, not easier, I guess. You're more able to do the movement because this kettlebell hangs pretty low. So if I didn't do this, I'd end up kind of sideways. Plank row, but you set your feet a little bit wider than typical in a plank position or a push-up position. And from there, we're just pulling the weight up. And you'll do 30 each side. Well, however you want to split it up. We'll end up with 30 each side. And shoulder press is the next one. Right? So you can stand. You can do half kneeling, but we're just taking a knee or standing, pressing the weight up towards the ceiling. So that's the pair there, the plank row and shoulder press. Last one, single leg glute bridge. You'll be lying on the floor. We'll actually probably do them in warm up. Lying on the floor, pressing your heel into the floor and lifting your hips up. And pair that with a push-up. All right, so that one we're just rolling around on the ground for the last 4 minutes. We'll take 1 minute rest in between for a total workout time of about 20 minutes. Okay? All right, with that, let's finish up the foam roll. We've got 2 minutes left here to to foam roll. If you don't have a foam roller, you can roll around on the ground. You can do it manually. By the way, if you're, so like Ted, you're traveling right now, right? You're not at your home court. Never a bad idea to pop a tennis ball or something like that in a travel bag. That way you can at least roll out your feet, which gets a lot of benefit. You can also, use it in your hips and things like that. So never a bad idea just to toss a tennis ball or something like that in your bag so that you have that to use on the road. So obviously probably not going to be traveling with a big foam roller. So last minute here, let's take the time to get to any spot that you need. As a kind of a side note here, I'm saying this because I noticed this, and I know there are others who have kind of temperamental low backs, but if you have back tightness, you're better off rolling your hips than you are rolling your low back. So we don't want to really get into that area and roll in there. So a lot of times the source of the pain is not necessarily the source of the problem. So we'll roll out the hips, and that's typically going to lead you to more of a solution to the problem than just temporary relief. Okay, so let's wrap up. I did not roll much this morning, but anytime I'm explaining the circuit, you should go ahead and roll so we can save a bit of time after that. So take a spot down on your back, knees bent, feet flat on the floor. We're going to do just 10 glute bridges here. We're going to do with 2 feet. So belly strong, just pushing those heels down into the floor. Think about kind of curling your tailbone under or up towards the ceiling, in this case, down to tap the floor. So come up, down and tap the floor. Try to keep your belly strong here. So you notice, like for me, I don't really get to that straight line. That's because I'm tilting my hips kind of the opposite direction that they usually go. So it limits my range of motion. But as long as you're pushing to the top of your range of motion, you're in good shape with this. Keeping your belly strong. Every time you touch down to the floor, you should be touching your sacrum or that flat bone right around your waistband back there. So as you tap down, you shouldn't notice that you've arched. And one more. Good. From here, we're going to freeze at the top. So we're just going to hold it here. Cheeks are strong, belly strong. Arms will go up over your head, the letter Y. And we're just going to do some floor slides here, sliding down and up, taking those shoulders through a range of motion, getting your shoulder blades working. And good, relax. While we're here on our back, let's go ahead and cross an ankle over your knee. And then the foot that's still on the floor, or the leg of the foot that's still on the floor, you're going to grab the back of that leg and bring it in toward you. Relax your head if you can. So we're just pulling that knee in toward you, looking for a big stretch outside of your cheek. And switch sides. Crossing that ankle over. Whatever foot's still on the floor, you're going to reach through, grab the back of that leg, bring it in toward you. and try to relax your head. And good, last bit on the floor. Just gonna push your heels up toward the ceiling. If you need help, you can grab the back of that leg and drop your other heel. If not, we want to try to keep the legs straight, pushing heels up towards the sky. Drop one heel down, tap the floor, and come back up. So we'll just alternate there, your speed. We'll go for about 30 seconds total. Ten seconds. Trying to freeze that low back right where it is, so you shouldn't feel an arching motion when you drop your heel down. One way to modify this is just to bend your knees, tap the heel. And good, let's roll over to all fours. So from all fours, you're gonna sit your hips back towards your butt, or sorry, sit your butt back towards your heels, and try to put your chest down onto your thighs, reaching those hands out in front of you, thumbs up to the ceiling. So we should be getting a lat or shoulder stretch out of this, feeling that stretch down the outside of your rib cage. From there, let's walk your hands over to one side. So keep your butt on top of your heels. Now we're doing the same thing. You're gonna feel the stretch more on the side that you've reached away from. And walk them on over to the other side. And good, let's come up to a push-up position. And walk your hands into your toes. Tap, and then walk back out. And in. Good, and on that last one, let's come up to standing. Feet go wide. Just working our way across. So from here, instead of standing up with both legs straight, you're gonna think more about sliding across. So we'll be here, and then instead of straightening both legs, you're gonna bend both legs and kind of end up on the other side. So here we're just sliding back and forth. Getting a little bit of a warm up, a little bit of a stretch. And then let's go ahead and stand and reverse lunge on each side. So we're going to alternate. Just getting that movement warmed up. Let's do 10 more seconds. Okay, and relax. All right, so if you don't have a slider, that's okay. You can turn those into, we'll talk about it in a second, but you can just turn them into plain lunges rather than the slide lunges. So no, not everybody's gonna have a slider all the time. I'll talk about how to change that up. But for the first one, Ted, I'm trying to think of how you could do this without weight. Maybe use a bag. You know, use sandbags in the gym all the time. So if you got a travel bag or something, So the one hand swing and crossbody mountain climber is the first pair. All right, and we go for 4 minutes. We're trying to get 30 reps of each. Okay, so we'll get started here in 5 seconds. Everybody's got what they need. 2, 1, and here we go. So Ted, even going through the motion, right, of that hip hinge, reaching down, coming up, there's a lot of value in that too. So even if you don't have weight, you can get something out of this. Again, you split them up however you want. Making sure you're just keeping your chest away from the floor on the deadlifts. So the weight's going to go down, but you should think about keeping your head and chest away from the floor so you're not rounding. Two minutes left. Okay, last minute. Remember, good form is always more important than finishing. Fifteen seconds left. And time. Okay, moving on. These slide lunges, you can do these with or without weight. If you don't have a slide, we just have to change it a little bit. So with the slider, you're sliding out to the side and then back. But to keep one leg doing the work, if you don't have a slider, If you don't have a slider, you're going to step out with one leg, and you're going to take that same leg and step forward. So without a slider, you're just lunging like this, one step forward, one step to the side. Okay, but if you have a slider, the leg that you're standing on is doing the work. So you slide back and forward. All right, so let's get started. We got 4 minutes. Do your best work. Remember, we're counting. So I'm at 3, 3, 4, 4. Remember, if you don't have a slider, you're going to lunge out to the side and then step forward. Anything works as a slider, whether it's a towel on a non-carpeted floor. The best thing is to use a furniture slider on carpet. All right, 2 minutes to go. We're halfway there. Remember, your weight's going to be on the leg that you're standing on if you're doing that slide lunge. Shouldn't be following the slider at all. Thirty seconds left. Boy, I feel pretty okay about doing that with just body weight. 10 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1, and we rest. Our 1 minute to rest. Plank and row is next with the shoulder press. I definitely don't have the right weights here, so I'll probably be doing fewer of the shoulder presses. Yeah, if you can elevate your hand, even if it's by doing it on a step, moving your hands up to that second step, the edge of the couch. The nice thing is when you elevate your hands, you still have room to row. So elevate that, or do that as needed. Also, the higher you elevate your hands, it's more of a modification because the higher they are, the easier it gets. Okay. So pairing the plank row with the shoulder press, and here we go, shooting for 30 reps of each. Do your best to stay nice and square, not shifting off to one side or turning your body. Your feet can go wide just to keep you stable on the row. One minute down, 3 to go. Again, it's not easy to stay square down the middle, but if you need to, take fewer reps each time on the row so that you can keep yourself centered and your belly button facing the floor. Under a minute and a half here, a minute, 20 seconds to go. Thirty seconds. Ten seconds. 2, 1, rest. All right. Home stretch here. Bulk of the work is done. Single leg glute bridge is next. So you'll be lying on your back, similar to what we did in warm up. If you want more of a challenge, or if you feel like just the plain old glute bridge isn't quite enough, you can put a weight on your lap. That tends not to work quite as well, but it's one way to make things tougher. But we're just driving your heel through the floor, lifting your hips up. After that, you'll roll right over for push-ups. Getting started in 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and here we go. Closing out. Glute bridge and push-ups. With the glute bridge, make sure you're keeping your thigh close to your chest as you push up. You don't want your low back arching or extending out. We want your hip to do the work. That space in between your rib cage and your thigh, I always think of that as like Pac-Man's mouth. As you push up, you shouldn't see Pac-Man's mouth opening and closing, right? Pac-Man's mouth should stay right where it is. As you push, one good way to measure that is to put your thumb on your rib cage and put your finger on your thigh. If you notice as you push up that your thigh is leaving your finger, then you know that you're arching your back into it. Two minutes left, halfway there. Remember, your goal is to get 30 reps of everything. Last minute, 1 minute to go. Fifteen seconds to go. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. All right. Ted, how'd that work out for you? Okay, with the no weights? Okay, it's good. All right. So yeah, I'll always try to mention some modifications to make sure that even if you don't have equipment with you, that these can be done. So good job this morning. I got a sprint. Mark, enjoy the view. That looks nice. Steve, thanks for joining. Ted, we'll see you tomorrow, most likely. See you, gang.